Hello and welcome once again everyone. Today I'm going to take a look at the Tier 5 Premium French Destroyer, Scirocco. You can get this ship in-game for free as reward by clicking on the French Destroyer event on the top left in port and completing all 4 stages of the directives. Without spoiling this game too much, it features my all-time damage record for Tier 5. Not just for destroyers, but all classes, which really surprised me, considering that this was just my 5th game in the Scirocco. After having a few games now, I'm beginning to feel more comfortable in the Scirocco, which I have to admit feels immensely powerful. Unlike its Tier 5 French compatriot, the Jaguar, Scirocco is currently the only Tier 5 destroyer in the game that gets access to the main battery reload booster. I must confess, one of my most obvious failings so far has been in the timing of its usage, and this game is no exception. Having the capability of doing double damage over a 15-second period is one thing, but being able to consistently maximize this potential is another. So learning to avoid some common mistakes will go a long way to increasing your effectiveness in the usage of this consumable. I've managed to set a double fire on the enemy Farragut, which continues to burn as I can see from my damage counter, switching immediately to the next target, the enemy Emerald, which is lightly armoured and an ideal target. The enemy team is pushing this flank hard. Despite being heavily outnumbered, these are actually the conditions that suit the Scirocco the best. Being able to kite away from an advancing force plays into Scirocco's strengths, primarily her great maneuverability, consisting of a tight turning circle and snappy rudder shift, which will make Scirocco an incredibly difficult target to hit when you constantly vary your course and speed. The added advantage of fighting an advancing force like this is the fact it's much easier to land shells consistently on target, so you're fighting on terms that are doubly favourable to you. The enemy Emerald has made the common mistake by British cruisers under heavy fire in attempting to smoke up while moving too fast, being unable to slow down quick enough, drifting out of their smoke cover, leaving them as sitting ducks in the open, and my supporting Koenig finishes them off. With the removal of one of the enemy cruisers, I'm tempted into pushing forward, with the intention of trying to use the islands ahead to potentially stealth fire at the enemy battleships, and even possibly finish off the enemy Farragut, which I know is quite low health. I have managed to drop detection, so I'm just going to creep up and use this island directly ahead. There are quite a number of enemy battleships here. Enemy Koenig, the Dunkirk, and there is a Graf Spee and 2 other destroyers here. The Hatsuharu and the Farragut. Just going to open fire on the Koenig. I do get detected, so there is an enemy destroyer close to me. Just going to start pushing forward quickly, use this island as cover. Enemy Farragut is spotted and he's opened fire on me. I'm going to immediately push out and around this island and attempt to finish off the Farragut. Does manage to knock out my steering, and my friendly Farragut takes him out. Did manage to land virtually every shell on target, which is quite unfortunate. I'm not going to repair my steering as I'm able to kite away here at the moment. I just don't want anyone landing potential fire on me. Pop the reload booster, open fire on the New York, get into the smoke here while these planes come in. That is unfortunate. Once again, the New York got instantly undetected. Switching fire to the Dunkirk. I am able to take very good cover in this very good smoke screen and avoid the enemy aircraft. Again, managed to get a double fire on the enemy Dunkirk. All these ships are blind firing the smoke screen. They know there's two destroyers in here. This Raspay is now going to prove a major issue. I fear he is pushing directly forward. He does have hydroacoustic search. I'm going to fall back out of the smoke screen and just drop some area of denial torps. Although it would seem I have wasted those. The enemy Dunkirk was already making a turn and I didn't pay proper attention to it. I'm going to continue to fall back here. Put fire on this Raspay. French destroyer gameplay can feel like playing at 100 miles per hour at times. Having mere seconds it seems to make decisions. Having no smokes, you will rarely get a break to take a breath, to reassess the state of play, so don't worry about making mistakes. When all is done and dusted in this match, I will have made plenty in this just one game, but I will stress it's very important to recognize and learn from mistakes made. So focus on your positioning and keep those guns firing at all times. Strong positioning will increase your margin of error for when things do go wrong, allowing you to stay alive longer and ultimately have a lot of fun in this ship. I'm trying here to provide as much AA support as possible to my Koenig, and the Hatsuharu is spotted trying to creep through the middle. Pop the reload booster to put down as much fire as possible. He is attempting to rush our battleships in our capture point. Okay, the enemy Hatsuharu goes down. Try and quickly get off some torpedoes on the Raspay. There, I'm just a second too late. Yep, two of those torps hit the island. And I'm hydroed from the Raspay, so he sees all those torpedoes. So that was another wasted torpedo strike. Continue to kite away, put fire on the Dunkirk, instantly get a fire on him. Two ships targeting me at the moment. Switch to the Koenig. Temporarily don't have line of sight on the Dunkirk. Do have the shell arcs now to get over that island once again. Quite off with the aim there. Enemy rocket planes coming in again. This is not so good. Kill my speed, try and turn away. He does set me on fire. We are being pushed back now and being encircled on all sides. Attempt to fall back to the south here. This Raspay is being very aggressive and pushing forward and is constantly forcing me to retreat. His hydro is probably still running. I've managed to drop detection for the moment, but I just can't simply not fire. I have to open fire on this guy. Our carrier is attempting to drop him. Going to keep him under maximum pressure while he's dodging those torpedoes. Does successfully evade them. He opens fire on me. He instantly lands a shell hit. Going to try and break line of sight with the Raspay using this island. Did manage to set him on fire. Focus again on the Dunkirk. We are being pushed into one small area of the map now. This is not advantageous whatsoever. This Raspay is continuing his push forward. He's been very aggressive. York goes down. We've now lost 5 ships to the enemy's 3. This Scraps Bay is closing the distance all the time. I managed to get a fire on him. Carrier gets a decent bomb strike out on him as also. Try and keep as much pressure on this Scraps Bay as possible. Our team is now in an awful position. We're virtually on one map square, completely surrounded, making it impossible for any of our ships to angle effectively. At least the Scraps Bay is very close to going down. He has been a real thorn in our side. Very close now. Farragut gets the kill on the Scraps Bay and finally he goes down. I switch fire again instantly to the Dunkirk. Farragut, who has played quite well, is critically low. And I get hit from long range by a battleship, that New York. And it's the second time he's done this game. He hit me with an opening salvo right at the start from extreme long range. I'm now faced with the enemy Jaguar, who's almost full health and is rushing our carrier. We lose another ship. We're now in a 7-on-5 situation. I'm going to have to engage this Jaguar. He is full health. Not exactly the fight I want to be taking at this point. And there is a real stroke of good fortune. The enemy Jaguar detonates. I get the first kill of the game. Faced now with enemy dive bombers, and the enemy Igla is coming in. He is quite low. He does seem to be distracted at the moment. Fire on him. Hopefully take him out as quickly as possible. He is quite low. Oh, that's unfortunate. He gets undetected. That's excellent. That gives us a fighting chance. We have taken out 2 of their destroyers in quick succession. One, very fortunately, the other one was quite low. We're now in a 4-on-3 situation. Suddenly things are looking like we might have a brief chance in this game. With the removal of the enemy destroyers, I'm finally going to have an opportunity to get in close and try and use torpedoes on these battleships. But the enemy carrier is hunting me. I'm going to have to keep my AA turned off. I have got 1 speed boost left, and I'm trying to hold on to it and use it if I get detected. I'm successfully evading those planes for the moment. He is now luckily searching in the wrong position for me. This enemy New York is almost full health. And I can use this island to close the distance. He is firing at my friendly Fuso, so his guns are turned the opposite direction. Just gonna drop 1 on his current course and 1 ahead. He is in my detection range, so I'm just going to try and reverse here. Use the island to maintain concealment for as long as possible. I am now detected. His guns are indeed turned the other direction. His drops are looking good. The enemy Koenig is behind me, but he's not targeting me for the moment. I get the Confederate achievement. Enemy New York is flooding and on fire. I'm sailing towards the Koenig, but he still hasn't noticed me. I'm still only being targeted by the New York. He goes down. Enemy Koenig has taken notice of me now and is targeting me. Okay, I've dropped detection. Koenig does blind fire. He manages one shell hit. To turn very quickly now to get out of detection range. Briefly spots me, but he had fired his guns. Our carrier does manage to set the Koenig on fire, and he has instantly repaired that fire. That is a huge mistake. These torps are looking good. If he takes a flood now, it will do quite a bit of damage to him. Get one strike on the rear and the other on his bow. Get the high caliber award, and more importantly, I get a double flood. This Koenig is doomed. There's no need to open fire and risk him getting off some last shells on me. Is it possible we're about to turn this game in our favour? Incredibly, we're down to a 2-on-2 situation, and for the moment we have the points lead. Our carrier would seem to be trapped in the corner of the map though. I'm trying to tell him to get into the corner and use those islands as cover, but it does only seem a matter of time before he gets taken out. I'm going to have to rush this carrier. I can stealth fire him here from for the moment, but I just don't have the DPM to kill a full health carrier from this range. I really am faced with a bit of a dilemma here, not knowing whether to run away and attempt to slow their capture point, or try and bum rush the carrier. I lose sight of the carrier. He is fully focused on sending dive bombers towards my own ranger, who is quite low, unfortunately. Carrier would seem to be on the far side of this island, so I'm going to attempt to get an angle on him here. We are running out of time. The enemy carrier spotted. I have AP loaded. Gonna have to slightly turn here. Get my back guns on target. I do manage to get a citadel. And the second citadel, take out his engine, but I've misjudged my position and I've managed to ground. And of all the times to do it. Enemy carrier has spotted me now and I'm a sitting duck. Here come the rocket planes, and there is literally nothing I can do about it. In a game littered with personal mistakes, it seems fitting I saved the worst for last. Despite all my blunders, I managed an astounding 161,000 damage. I have to give the Scirocco a resounding thumbs up. Before going to the ship build, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've added a new Discord server, so come on over and say hello. And now onto the build. When doing the full builds, I always recommend using premium consumables. Siroco will get access to 4 charges of main battery reload booster, which gives a 50% temporary boost to reload speed for 15 seconds, which can really enhance your damage potential depending on the circumstances. Add to this 3 speed boost charges, and never forget that premium consumables come with reduced cooldown times that can greatly increase your survivability and effectiveness in combat. Scirocco only gets 3 ship upgrades, starting off with Main Armaments Mod 1, Damage Control Mod 1, and finally Aiming Systems Mod 1. Onto the Captain skills. Being low tier, it's unlikely you will have accumulated enough XP to have a fully trained captain at this point. So I highly suggest going for Preventive Maintenance, Blast Stand, Survivability Expert, and then Concealment Expert for your first 10 points. There are a lot of valid options for the final 9 points, which you can train in your own order of preference, but I recommend a very strong balance will include Adrenaline Rush, Basic Firing Training, Demolition Expert, and finally Priority Target, which are final point. So let's see what this build means for the ship's final stats. For survivability, Scirocco gets 13,650 hit points, which is only a little above average for a Tier 5 destroyer. Main artillery consists of 4 single-mounted 130mm turrets, with 11.8 kilometers in range, equally arranged 2 fore and 2 aft, with a reload speed of 5.4 seconds, further reduced to 2.7 seconds for the duration of the reload booster consumable. Scirocco gets 2 X3 torpedo launchers, both which are centrally mounted for use on either port or starboard sides, with 7 kilometers in range and a speed of 57 knots and a reload time of 75 seconds. Scirocco gets an AA defense rating of 6, which basically means you won't be shooting down planes anytime soon, if at all. Aircraft carriers will once again prove to be a real issue. For maneuverability, Scirocco gets a max base speed of 33 knots, a turning circle of 550 meters, and a very good rudder shift time of just 3 seconds. Finally, Scirocco has a concealment rating of 95, meaning you will be surface detected at 6.0 kilometers and by aircraft at 2.4 kilometers. I'd like to thank you once again all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more. Take a moment to check out some of my most recent videos and leave a comment below. And until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.